Today starts episode 1 of our bulking series. I'm excited to get things popping off here in just a minute. We're going to do a full day of eating, and I'm going to explain why I'm eating, what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, and kind of my overall calorie surplus, and get into my workouts as well. So without further ado, Alright, meal number 1 is done. We got 4 over easy eggs, a little bit of avocado that's about 53 grams, and 100 grams of raspberries. This is a pretty simple meal. It's not super heavy, but I'm not a big breakfast person. And honestly, last night we had to make a grocery order because we were running out of food. As I'm sure you know in some of my recent posts, I just got married. So we haven't been in town a lot the past week. And we're kind of just getting caught up. Since I started the bulk on Monday, we didn't really accommodate for all of the groceries that we would need for the weekend, but this is going to be my meal right here. And it'll get a little bit heavier as we go on, but my plan is to increase carbs, and that's kind of the easiest way for me to increase calories. As far as calories and macros go for this meal, we're looking at 417 calories, 26 grams of protein, 18 grams of carbs, and 28 grams of fat. Now, admittedly, the eggs and avocado are going to increase the fat, so this is a little bit fattier of a meal for the first half of the day, but as we go on, you'll see that my carbs will continue to increase. Now, if you watched my last video, you know that I'm doing a bulk right now, and this is episode 1 of the bulking series. And the idea here is to increase calories by roughly 500 calories per day, which is going to put me at about 2,900 calories overall. As far as workouts and things like that go, there's a little bit more to it, and I'm not saying that it's better thought out, but I have a little bit more activity planned for this bulk that may or may not impact how many calories I'll actually have to eat in order to increase my calories by 500. That's enough talking. I'm starving, so I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, but I will see you all here shortly. Alright, meal number 1 is done, and I'm still nursing this coffee over here, so I'm gonna finish this and simultaneously go out on a walk. This is something that I've implemented here recently. Even though I'm bulking, I still like the idea of getting in some kind of movement early on in the day. Now, I know some people might say that if you're bulking and you're trying to stay in a surplus, you should do less work, but I disagree with that approach. In my opinion, you should still try to maintain the same level of activity that you normally would, even when you're not bulking, because you might end up being in a larger surplus than you expected. And sometimes being on a bulk leaves you feeling a little bit more lethargic because of all of the calories that you're consuming, so knocking it out early in the day really helps me personally. It's a small but simple strategy that kind of helps me stay honest and keep my cardio in check. Alright, walk is done and we're on to meal number 2. As you can see, we've got some avocado, some red onions over here, and some bell peppers, as well as ground beef. I just seasoned it with kosher salt, as well as about 8 ounces of rice. So when we're looking at our macros for this meal, as well as our calories, it's about 680 calories. And for our macros, we're looking at 41 grams of protein, about 73 grams of carbs, and about 29 grams of fat. As mentioned before, fats are continuing to go down while the carbs are going to go up. This is strictly for the purposes of getting more calories in, as well as staying energized and things like that. Overall, my fats will be around 100 grams of fat for the total in today's full day of eating, but right now I'm getting in a lot of fats, and those will start to decrease as carbs start to increase. With that said, there is more calories per gram of fat versus carbs. The purpose of the carbs is to keep us going, keep us energized. So I'm trying to keep like relatively clean sources of carbs so that way I stay energized and not feeling too lethargic. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, and I'll see you all in just a little bit. I also forgot to mention that I'm gonna be drinking this Olipop here. That's how I got the 680 calories. So this plus this is all 680 calories. Once I'm done here, I'm gonna chill for a couple of minutes, let this digest, and then we're gonna go to my workout for the day, which is gonna be a full body workout. See you there. All right, we're in the gym now. Gonna do a full body workout. I'm sure you all know that I'm pretty big on the whole entire full body workout thing. Today we're going to be doing a squat focus day, so the first workout is going to actually just be squats. It's going to be 3 sets of about 8 to 12. I think keeping them relatively heavy for that rep range. Now, as I previously mentioned, I want to increase my deadlift as well, so that's going to be a little bit smaller of a rep range, and we'll see how that goes and kind of work with it. I'm going to really be focusing on tempo and keeping my form as good as possible. Also, love having a garage gym, but it's like 50 degrees outside and it's probably 10 degrees cooler in here. So we've got the heater in the background. If you hear that, my apologies. Let's get a workout in. Workout is complete. Feeling pretty good. We'll see how it looks whenever I go back to the film, but definitely got hot in here. So we're gonna move on to meal number 3. Stay tuned for that. All right, for meal number 3, we've got a nice gainer shake. And for this gainer shake, the recipe is pretty simple. All we're gonna need is 2 scoops of your favorite whey protein. For me, this is the gold standard protein. It's honestly just one of the cheaper options, and that's why I use it. 120 calories per scoop. We're gonna use 2 scoops, which is 60 grams. Make sure while you're making this shake, you have your food scale handy so that way you can make sure that you're getting the measurements as accurately as possible. In addition, we're gonna have about 480 grams or milliliters of almond milk, or at least I'm gonna use almond milk here because that's honestly just what we have. You could also use whole milk or just any other milk of choice, but for me, I'm gonna use unsweetened almond milk. Then we're gonna go ahead and use our banana. Again, you're gonna want your food scale handy because the older a banana gets, the more likely it's gonna weigh less, and that's gonna cut into your calories. Since we're trying to gain calories here, we're gonna try to be as accurate as possible so we can adjust later on in the day. Next up will be honey. I'm gonna use about 1 tablespoon of this. That's about 20 grams for the honey brand that I'm using right here. Simple, sweet, and kind of just a nice little perk to have in a shake like this. And lastly, we're gonna have peanut butter. I use organic peanut butter or the organic brand from Safeway. And the purpose for that is that it has the least amount of ingredients. The thing about peanut butter is some peanut butters are still able to use trans fats, and I try not to consume trans fats. It's just not the best from a health standpoint. And as you'll see, as I'm getting the peanut butter, we had some extra peanut butter on hand. I just used the second jar, but it's the same brand, same amount, 32 grams of peanut butter. And with that said, our total calories and macros come out to 639 calories. And as far as our macro breakout goes, we're looking at 59 grams of protein, 52 grams of carbs, and about 23 grams of fat. Overall, I have to say that those are pretty good macros and calories, you know, considering the fact that I'm using almond milk in particular, because almond milk's only about 60 calories for 2 cups. Up to this point in the bulk, this has been kind of the secret for me to manage to eat whole foods, but also consume extra calories. I make one of these and it almost guarantees that I have a 500 calorie surplus if I eat exactly the same as I was when I was just maintaining my weight. And from a volume perspective, I mean, this is a pretty big blender and we're about 1/3 of the way full, which is pretty good. It makes up just over the 24 ounces that this cup is gonna hold. It makes up just under, my apologies. but that might vary depending on how big the banana is or some of the volume of the contents that you're putting in here are. So just keep that in mind. We'll say it's nice to drink calories as well if you're a hard gainer, because sometimes eating calories, especially when they're coming from whole foods, can be really difficult. So having a recipe like this on hand is definitely a good idea. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, but I'll see you all at meal number 4. All right, we got meal number 4 right here. Looks delicious. On this plate, we have about 6 ounces of protein pasta, 4 ounces of chicken. We've got some onion, pepperoni, a little bit of buffalo sauce, and all of this was made with olive oil, so I included that in my macros as well. Should also mention that there is some feta cheese in there, but it's fat-free. So again, keeping the fats a little bit lower as the day goes on. As far as calories go, we're looking at 863 with macros of 63 grams of protein, 118 grams of carbs, as well as 19 grams of fat. Slowly trickling off that fat, increasing the carbs, and just making sure that we're consistent with our protein. Now obviously this is the biggest meal of the day, and it probably will be given the fact that I only have around 450 plus calories, so we still got a little bit more to eat, but this is definitely going to be one of the bigger meals, kind of to end the day on a high note as far as making sure we get our protein as well as our calories. So I'm going to eat this, but I'll see you all at meal number 5. Our final meal of the day is going to be a big bowl of popcorn. For our calories, we're looking at 440 calories in total, with 8 grams of protein, 50 grams of carbs, and about 24 grams of fat. That's from the olive oil, obviously, but I usually like to cap off the night with a little bit of popcorn. This time, we're able to get a little bit more in. It's a ton of volume, which for a bulk isn't always great, because sometimes the more volume, the harder it is to get those calories in, but I'm feeling pretty good given everything I've eaten today. As for the entire day of eating, we're looking at 2958 for our total calories, and for our macros, we're looking at 197 grams of protein, 311 carbs, and about 115 grams of fat. For the most part, I'm pretty happy with those results. I'm gonna eat the rest of this popcorn, enjoy the rest of the night, and maybe watch the fight, who knows. As for how I'm feeling, I think for the most part I'm feeling pretty good, but it's still early and it's too close to the beginning of the bulk to really start feeling some of the side effects of really increasing those calories. However, I will say that today's workout did feel better, and for the most part, most of my workouts for the last 5 days have also felt better. So hopefully you got a little bit of insight as to my bulking blueprint here, as well as how I'll be eating and kind of maintaining these calories throughout the rest of this bulk. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. The series is going to keep going until really I feel like there's nothing left to give or I've taken it too far. So be sure to do that, and until next time, keep it together.